Embers of the future. Los Angeles was no stranger to fire. Over the years, the city had become synonymous with smog-filled skies and distant red horizons. But this time, it was different. By 2035, the wildfires were no longer seasonal. They were constant, an unrelenting force fueled by record-breaking droughts and the relentless march of climate change. Maya Reyes stood on the rooftop of her apartment complex in East LA, staring at the burning hills in the distance. Ash rained down like snow, coating cars, streets, and the few plants resilient enough to survive the heat. She adjusted her respirator, the only barrier between her lungs and the toxic air. "Another one," she muttered, watching as helicopters dropped fire retardant on the advancing flames. The news drone hovering nearby streamed a live feed, its automated voice reporting the facts with chilling detachment. Fire containment, 27%. Evacuations, mandatory for all residents north of Mulholland Drive. Fatalities, 12 confirmed. Maya's phone buzzed. It was a message from her brother, Louis. "Louis, still no word from Mom. I'm heading to her place now." She bit her lip. Their mother lived in the evacuation zone, stubbornly refusing to leave her small home despite the worsening fires. "Maya, wait for me. Don't go alone." But Louis didn't wait. He never did. The drive to their mother's house was slow and suffocating. The highways were jammed with evacuees, their cars packed with whatever belongings they could grab. Maya weaved through side streets, avoiding the worst of the gridlock, her electric bike humming beneath her. The temperature gauge on her dashboard read 109 FA, and the smell of burning wood mixed with melted plastic grew stronger with each mile. As she approached the evacuation zone, she noticed something odd. Drones, hundreds of them, flying in formation above the city. She stopped to snap a picture and send it to Louis. "What the hell are these drones doing?" "Thought they were for monitoring fires." His reply came quickly. "Not monitoring, herding." Herding. She didn't understand, but there was no time to dwell on it. As she neared her mother's house, the air grew thick with smoke. Flames licked at the edges of the neighborhood, and the sound of crackling wood was deafening. Louis's car was parked haphazardly in the driveway. Maya rushed inside, calling out for her family.
"Louis? Mom?"
Her voice echoed in the empty house. The living room was in disarray, and the faint glow of embers reflected through the windows. On the kitchen table was a hastily scrawled note. "Took Mom to the shelter. Stay safe, Louis." Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. Outside, the hum of drones grew louder. Maya stepped out into the ash-covered street, her eyes fixed on the swarm of drones overhead. They weren't heading toward the fire, they were moving in precise patterns, releasing a strange, shimmering mist. She crouched behind a car and watched as the mist settled over the neighborhood. Her phone buzzed again. It was an emergency broadcast. "Attention, residents in Zone 14 remain indoors. Unauthorized activity may result in automated enforcement measures." She frowned. Automated enforcement? What was going on? The drones moved with eerie precision, releasing more mist. A group of evacuees appeared at the end of the street, dragging suitcases and carrying children. As they passed under the mist, they began coughing violently. One by one, they collapsed. Maya's blood ran cold. This wasn't fire suppression. This was something else entirely. Maya knew she couldn't stay in the evacuation zone. She retrieved a gas mask from her bike's storage compartment and made her way back toward the city center. Along the way, she noticed more drones deploying the mist, always in areas where the fires were worst. At a checkpoint, She was stopped by a group of people wearing homemade respirators and carrying hacked radios. They introduced themselves as the Ember Collective, a group of activists investigating government corruption and corporate collusion in the wildfire crisis.
The fires aren't just natural.
Said one of the activists, a young woman named Clara.
They're being accelerated. Arcadia Dynamics, the company behind those drones, is clearing out neighborhoods for redevelopment. They want the land, and the fires are their excuse.
Maya felt a surge of anger.
You're saying they're killing people for profit?
Claire nodded grimly.
They call it strategic cleansing. We've intercepted their plans, but we need proof.
With no other choice, Maya joined the collective on a mission to retrieve data from an Arcadia server hub hidden near the fire's epicenter. The journey was perilous, with collapsing roads and smoke so thick it felt like a physical barrier. The drones were everywhere, scanning for intruders. As they approached the facility, Claire handed Maya a device.
This will copy their files. You need to get inside while we distract the drones.
Maya nodded, her heart pounding. She slipped through a gap in the fence and entered the building. Inside, rows of servers hummed with energy. She plugged in the device and waited, sweat dripping down her face despite the heat-resistant suit. The download felt like an eternity. Just as it completed, an alarm blared. Maya grabbed the device and sprinted out, dodging drones as they descended. Outside, Claire and the others were waiting in a stolen van. They sped off as drones pursued them, the glow of the fire illuminating the night. Back at the collective's hideout, Maya and Clara examined the files. They contained damning evidence, emails, blueprints, and financial transactions proving Arcadia Dynamics had been orchestrating wildfires to clear land for luxury developments and resource extraction. The collective wasted no time. They leaked the files to the media, uploading them to every platform they could access. The backlash was immediate. Protests erupted across the country, demanding accountability and justice. But Arcadia didn't go down without a fight. Maya watched from a safe house as the company's CEO denied everything on live TV, calling the files fabrications by eco-terrorists. Despite the denial, the evidence was irrefutable. Investigations were launched and several high-ranking officials were arrested. For the first time in years, Maya felt a glimmer of hope. Months later, the fires had finally subsided, but the scars remained. Entire neighborhoods were gone, and countless lives had been lost. Maya stood in the remains of her mother's house, now a blackened shell. Claire approached, placing a hand on her shoulder.
We stopped them, Maya. It's not enough, but it's a start.
Maya nodded, her gaze fixed on the horizon. The air was still heavy with ash, but the winds were changing. She had lost so much, but she had gained something invaluable, the determination to keep fighting, no matter the cost.